Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the Drone Camps channel. I'm Justin Davis, and if you've been watching my channel over the past 3 or 4 years, you've seen tons of long-range planes, and I'm happy to be able to review this plane today because I didn't honestly see, if you type in Sonicmodell binary on YouTube, there's not a lot of full-scale reviews out there on this plane. So hopefully I give you enough information in this video about this plane and you can decide whether you'd like to pick one up or not. It is a short to medium range type of plane. I wouldn't say it's a super long range type of plane because it is just a little bit bigger than a park flyer, but you can fit up to about a 10,000 milliamp in this. So the super long range guys out there are getting over 10 miles out, and the short to medium range guys are sticking around 1 mile to 5 miles at the max. So I think this plane could easily do 5 miles. It also depends on what type of setup you want to get and where you're at in your long range flying. So if you're just a beginner, obviously we don't recommend just slapping a bunch of FPV gear on there and going out there on 1.3 or 2.4 and seeing how far you can get out there without having a lot of experience under your belt. So if you want to start out with something like a twin, it might be more challenging in the beginning with it, but I think in a way it's a neater plane to fly, and you have a ton of speed with this plane. It has a really flat wing profile, so it's actually pretty fast, and in conjunction with the twin motors up front, pushing these two tri-blade props, I believe they were 8-inch 8x4 tri-blade props, and I'm going to try to find some of those on the internet right now because I broke one and had to replace one with a temporary prop in the meantime. But hopefully this review helps you out and you find it interesting, because there really is no other review of this plane out there that I've seen. There's a lot of flight tests and some footage, but this might be one of the first full-scale reviews of it. So let's go ahead and talk about the components that they chose to put on board here. The plane is around $100 if you want to get it without any of the electronics in it, and it's another $100 for the power kit that you need to put in here. That includes the ESCs, all of the wiring to get the motors harnessed together, and it's not a complicated process. Each motor ESC comes to a Y harness and plugs right down into your receiver, where your traditional ESC port is for throttle control on your receiver. So it's not super complicated, but let's go ahead and jump into the spec check real quick, and after that we'll do some flying and I'll give you my final opinion and my thoughts on the new Sonicmodell binary. Here we go guys, enjoy. The binary has a wingspan of around 47 inches. That's not too super small, but it's not also super big in the long range community. It also has tons of FPV space available with head tracking gear set up on the front. If you'd like to add that, you can put your GoPro on top. Any type of FPV setup imaginable. It also supports up to a 4S 10,000 milliamp battery, and there's your servo tracking mount right there. It even has strap points on each side, so you can bring a strap through. We also have two 8x4 tri-blade props on here, and I found those to be a little bit brittle. One did break on me, so you want to look for better props. We're also running Sunny Sky 2212 1100 kV motors, and the 1100 kV is going to get you a longer flight time. Two 40 amp ESCs running 2 to 4S on this plane. I'm going to recommend that you run this plane on 4S. It's just going to give you a better power and a little bit longer flight time. We have 9-gram servos that are included in the electronics kit, and rear hatch access, which is super nice for setting up your tail servos and your push rods. You will also have the option for landing gear, which is steerable nose wheel, but I did not add them on mine because it's extra weight. Also pre-installed carbon spars on both sides of the wings for the flaps setup, and a huge carbon spar all the way almost out to the end, and some other ones that are also on the inside of the wing, on the back side of the wing, which is kind of nice. And there's an optional LED system. I didn't put it on mine, but you can check out the kit down below. I think it's about $28. And now we're going to do a little durability test. I did lose control of it and went down into the trees. It didn't look like a hard crash, but it did break one prop. And those props are a little bit brittle. So let's get it up in the air for the FPV flight test, and let's fly this together. Talk about the characteristics of this plane. So on my first launch, when I first threw it up, it was really fast. It was extremely fast and was almost across first field I was in into the second field super quick. So I noticed right away the power that this plane has, and whenever you're flying the twin engine setup, that's going to be the huge benefit for you. You have a really fast plane, so it will cover a lot of ground. If you're using it for surface mapping, such as aerial surface mapping for agriculture or other corporate applications, this plane can be modded to fit the latest equipment for that, for topographical mapping. But if you want to use it for a recreational setup as well, it has plenty of space on this plane to put just about any type of FPV gear you'd like to. You can put crossfire, you could even fly at short range with an XM Plus or RXSR on there. Also popular is a D4R2 receiver for Taranis radios. And really, this plane is a cruiser. That's what it's meant to be. It's not really meant to be any type of aerobatic type plane, but it does track really well. The other thing about the control, having those two motors on there, I feel like I have a really nice low speed. It doesn't seem to have a lot of stall characteristics. I reviewed the Edu Cessna twin on my channel as well, and you can go back and check that one out. That one had a little bit more stall characteristics over the binary. Sonicmodell typically produces airplanes and wings that fly pretty good, so I didn't have a lot of problem with stall. And the FPV view on this plane is not bad. You can see a little bit of the front of the plane right there in my GoPro, but honestly, you should stick your GoPro up front and move your battery back a little bit and adjust that CG. The other thing is that this wing does have CG points underneath it as well. I forgot to mention that, but it's nice because the Edu Cessna left me trying to figure it out by myself, and that took a little bit of time to get that right. You're going to have to balance it laterally and from front to back. Looking pretty good here though. I'm pretty happy with the flight test on this. It went really well actually, and I enjoyed flying the plane. Alright guys, welcome back from the flight test. So what did you think about this plane as far as the flying characteristic? It is very stable and very fast in the air. So I think for guys that are looking to cover a lot of ground really quickly, I know there are a lot of different types of fixed wing long range pilots out there. There's some of you who like to fly really slow planes and just kind of cruise, and for me, I like to fly sometimes the slower ones because I don't go quite as far, and it felt like I flew like 3 miles because I'm just cruising, but I'm actually only like 2-3 football fields away. It's kind of crazy when you slow down and fly the slower ones. With the faster ones like the Mini Drac out there, if you haven't seen that one before, look that one up. That one's also awesome, but that one comes in a foam and kit that you're going to have to cut out and put together yourself and laminate and all that deal. But this one is pretty much like a plug and play. So get your electronics, put it in there, and I would say it probably took me about 3 hours to build this one up. So if you're going to buy this one, it's probably going to take you a good 3 to 4 hours if you really take your time and set things up right and make sure things are properly installed in the fuselage. And anytime you're going to fly an airplane this size, obviously you're going to do that. Take your time with it, enjoy the process. I always do with fixed wing. But the other characteristic of some of these planes is faster flying planes, and this happens to be one of those faster flying planes. The Talons out there, the larger size Talon, the full size Talon, is a pretty fast plane. It has a pretty flat wing profile, and this one as well. There's no dihedral on the end of these wings. There's a little tiny lip on the outside of the edge that helps for a little bit of vortex, and it keeps things nice and stable in the windier conditions, but it really does cut right through the wind. And this plane has a lot of mass and momentum as well, so it is quite fast. You will be surprised if you fly at line of sight. When I first threw it up line of sight, I was impressed by how fast it took off across the field and already way out across the next field, and was just slicing through the air, coming back around. A very fast and fun plane to fly line of sight. But let's get down to the brass tacks of this review, and let me give you a durability score on the plane. I'm going to give it probably about a 4.3 out of 5 for durability. It is super durable. You're not going to have a lot of problems with it. Mostly you're going to be trying to find your GoPro after a crash, and when I have crashed planes such as this one in the past, a lot of times I'm just picking it up out of a tree, and everything was pretty much fine except for maybe like a broken prop. And I did put this one down several times, and that was all I did, was break a prop. So the way they have the motors mounted to the plane is pretty good. I didn't break a motor off of the firewall, so that was really nice. The next thing is performance. I'm going to say like probably about 4.6 stars for performance, because the plane is really fast. I love the way it flies. It's really smooth, and it handles a lot of turbulence up in the air on those windier days. So if you're looking for a plane that you can fly on a windier day, like a 15 to 20 mile an hour wind, you could easily throw this plane up and still fly in that kind of wind. So if you live somewhere windier, this is a great plane for that. But my overall score for this one, and I gotta say, like a pretty good score. I'm gonna say probably like a 4.8, because I think honestly that a lot of people out there on the internet like this plane. It has great reviews from other pilots, and the versatility of it, being able to put a flight controller in there. It already has a spot for the flight controller right in the center of the plane, where you can mount your posts right down through it. I believe it's a 30.5 by 30.5, 30 by 30 stack. So you can put that in there, add some GPS, some crossfire, all the bells and whistles that you want, and just go completely crazy with this plane if you want to. Or you can keep it simple as a simple FPV plane, and put your GoPro on the front right there. And it's not hard to center the center of gravity and the CG on this plane. Pretty easy. So I appreciate you guys watching my reviews. As always, I'm Justin Davis. If you like long range planes, and you like fixed wing in general, and you like FPV, please do, by all means, subscribe to my channel. I'll try to keep it interesting for you guys and bring you new reviews all the time. Thanks again, guys, for watching. Take care. I'm Justin Davis, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace out. Bye-bye.